I have a small problem. You see, a lot of the builds I have planned require a lot of mud bricks and moss. And yeah, this just isn't gonna cut it. But my solution is simple-ish. Last episode, we found this skeleton spawner, so my plan is to use it to get all the bone meal we're gonna need. But not just any skeleton spawner farm. I'm going to make one so powerful that we never run out of bone meal again. The first thing we're gonna need to get is actually sugarcane. And last episode, I asked you guys if I'm allowed to go get that sugarcane over there from the neighboring island, and for the most part, you guys agreed that it was fine, so I'm gonna go over and get it. Now, I just gotta be really careful about this, as I jump off. I figure no one will get mad at me if I just take that little bit and ignore the rest of the island, and I go without a boat. If there is anything dangerous out here, I'm completely exposed to it. Now, it looks like there's more sugarcane over there, and mushrooms are just spawning. Wow, mushrooms are just spawning all over the place over there. But unfortunately, this is Jungle Island survival and not Mushroom Island survival, so we're gonna have to ignore them. Oh, look how pretty my island is from over here. All right, well, we came for one thing and one thing only, and that is this bit of sugarcane over here, and that is all that I'm taking, and I'm immediately going back home. Now, you're probably wondering how having sugarcane helps me build a skeleton farm. That's the neat part. It doesn't, but this does. Yeah, I literally did nothing but farm sugarcane for the past 3 hours to get this, but hey, we have level 30 enchants now, and this will actually be crucial for getting our skeleton farm set up. Sweeping Edge 3, that is one of the enchants that we're gonna need for the sword, so we might as well pick that up. Oh, Bane of Arthropods. That's kind of shit. All right, Unbreaking 3. Let's get it. Oh, that's actually exactly what we were going for. That's literally one step away from perfect. Oh, and the very next enchant that we can get from a diamond pickaxe is efficiency 4. That's perfect. That's exactly what we want. It looks like we're gonna need some quick levels. I feel like the best way to get XP right now is just gonna be breeding these cows every few minutes. So I'll see you in a minute. This can't take too long, right? Right?
Help, Bowie.
Alright, fuck it, we'll take it. Ugh, I shouldn't have done that. No. No. My brother in Christ. Fortune 2, it's not even 3, what the fuck? Am I living in a simulation right now? What's going on? I'm gonna kill something. Come on. Jesus, dude. Just let me have this. Oh my god, finally! We don't have even nearly enough levels, but now I do. Let's go! Now all I have to do is go combine everything. Alright, these two first, these two, and now I get these 3. And we are down to 1 level! But it's worth it because we have a Looting 3 sword, a Silk Touch pick, and a Fortune 3 pick. Now we can really get started. Alright, now the next materials we need to gather is actually 2 very specific and very important items. We need a cobweb and powder snow. Ooh, a cobweb should be pretty easy to find if there's a mineshaft right... Oh. Well, yoink. All right, well, cobwebs are pretty simple to get, but you're probably wondering, how am I gonna get powder snow in the jungle? It doesn't snow here. And you would be right, there is no snow in the jungle biome. But this isn't a jungle. You see, the very edge of my island is rendered as a stony shore biome, and stony shores can snow. So all I had to do was place a cauldron and wait for it to fill up with snow. This took even more real-life hours than I care to admit. Oh, let's go, finally. Oh my god, that took forever. Before I can actually start building the skeleton spawner, we have another little problem to address. This little chicken coop has been left running the entire time, and yeah, it's kind of full. So... there's exactly 2 left after that. That is crazy. We got 60 chicken from that. So we're gonna have to do something with all those eggs, but I'll worry about that later because we got a skeleton farm to build. All right, we're at the skeleton spawner that we found last video. Honestly, the first thing we need to do is carve out the area that this spawner is gonna take up. So let's do that real quick. Even though mob spawners typically generate in a 7x7x7 room, they can actually spawn up to 9 blocks away. So expanding the room to 9x9x9 will make the farm even more efficient. All right, now that we've dug out the full area for the spawner, we have to dig another 14 blocks in that direction. So starting from the actual spawner here, we're gonna go 14. 14 blocks is actually the maximum range you can be away from a spawner and have it actually still work. So we're gonna go the maximum amount of blocks away so that we have as much space as possible to build this farm. But before we can even start building the actual mechanics of the farm, we have to dig up. All right, well now we've got our little access point down to the farm. This is gonna end up being the spot where we build our entrance to the farm. Actually, I wonder if I can get all the way down through here without drowning. Come on, come on. I'm not even at deep slate yet. All right, here's deep slate. I see the bottom. Okay, so I can just barely make it. All right, and my inventory is kind of cluttered right now, so yeah, the first thing we're gonna have to do is make the entrance point a little bit easier to get to, which means mining out a lot more blocks and making a staircase. This is gonna take forever to do. I don't know if you've ever dug from the surface all the way to bedrock before, but it's long and tedious and not fun at all. Good thing I won't have to do it again. I think I kind of want the hole to be wider. All right. Let's do it. I actually hate myself, bro. Why am I like this? I didn't even have mending or a beacon or anything. This took entirely too long. Whatever, at least the time lapse looks cool as shit. All right, now that we've dug out this giant hole, it's time to finally start the farm. Except that I don't actually have any of my materials on me. Let me just do the walk of shame out of the hole. The first couple materials I need to get are actually in the nether, so we're gonna go ahead and build our nether portal into our base from last episode. You know what? This is gonna bother me. Let's texture the back wall here. There we go. That works. There, now let's actually place the obsidian, a couple accents on the side, and there we go. Boom, nether portal. All right, and let's go through for the first time. We didn't exactly spawn in a great spot, but this is the first thing I need over here is some glowstone. Grab one of these. Okay, how the actual fuck did I find a nether fortress before soul sand? Let's branch over there. There's got to be soul sand in there. That's where the nether wart is. All right, I'm just here to get soul sand, and then I'm getting the fuck out of here. How do I have 5 blaze rods from 2 blazes? Oh, right, I have looting 3. Listen, I never said I was smart. Ooh, that's a wither skeleton. I guess we try our luck. I forgot it's smart. Oh, this is the soul sand room. This is gonna hurt. Oh, that was surprisingly easy. Okay. All right, well, we only really need 1 of these, but since we're here, we might as well just get all of it. Whoa. All right, that's all we need. Let's get the fuck out of here. We've got 20 soul sand. We really only need 1, so we can put the rest away. We need a redstone lamp, 1 target block, 15 redstone torches, 1 observer, 1 sticky piston, 1 redstone repeater, 3 fences, 2 fence gates, 3 signs, and 2 hoppers. And now we've got just about everything that we're gonna need to make this farm. And before we actually start building this farm, I'm gonna build myself a quick way to get down with these slabs, because I don't really like having to use water buckets every time I want to get in and out of here. And now we have a way up and down, and that looks really cool. But more importantly, we have a farm to build. Now, the first thing I'm gonna do is dig above the spawner and place a redstone lamp. And now I'm gonna dig a tunnel towards the main room. And now let's just drag a redstone line over here. And we're gonna put one of our levers right here. That powers this redstone lamp right here. Now, in case you're wondering what this does, it turns on the torch inside the spawner room, effectively turning the entire farm on and off. And now it's time to finally build this farm for real. The skeletons will spawn in the main room, and this water pushes them down into a tunnel. Inside the tunnel, there's another water line going into a bubble elevator. These fences make sure that the skeletons won't get stuck before they reach the bubble elevator. You should do what the sign says, by the way. Up here, I built another water line to push the skeletons into the kill chamber, which is exactly 20 blocks below. 20 blocks will make sure that a sword will always one-shot them. On the other side of the main drop, I have another drop with the powder snow and cobweb we got at the start of the episode. I call this the stray catcher. You see, trapping a skeleton in powder snow converts them into strays, kind of like how a zombie in water will turn into a drowned. That's why it's a stray catch. The cobweb just makes sure the skeleton won't fall straight through without converting. Converting skeletons into strays adds arrows of slowness to the pool of items we can get from this farm, which definitely beats having to craft them myself. Which, like, yeah, when you have them, they're kind of cool and useful for making sure creepers don't explode accidentally, but crafting tipped arrows is so annoying. You need bottles of dragon's breath, which can only be gotten from the ender dragon when it does the shooty fuck your shit up attack. Yeah, I would rather be caught dead in Chicago with my head cut off by an airboat propeller on a balcony. Anyway, with arrows of slowness, strays will actually drop less bones and arrows on average than normal skeletons, and the cobweb makes the whole process take a lot longer, so I built a redstone machine that will push a block to cover the main hole and dispense a bucket of water to continue the water line only when I want to use the stray catcher. If the circuit is off, the block is pulled back and the water is retracted. Now, I'm about as good at redstone as a 2-year-old is at not licking electrical outlets, but this was actually pretty simple to come up with. The hardest part was just keeping it compact and making sure one input would activate both components. And just like that, we have a skeleton farm built. You know what? Missed opportunity to refer to the kill chamber as the bone zone. Next time. We're not done just yet. As you can see, there's fucking nothing in here. And if I turn on free cam here, you can see there's a couple skeletons spawning, but there's gonna be a lot more just random stuff in these caves around here. I'm gonna have to go manually light all of those up. So now I have the fun task of going and manually lighting up every cave in a 128 block radius. I'm using a mod called Mini HUD that lets me see the light levels of all the surrounding caves as well as the despawn sphere to show how far I actually need to go. If you don't like that I'm using a mod for this and you think it's cheating, bitch at me in the comments. I promise I'll read them. That was sarcasm. Genuinely, without the Mini HUD mod, this task is fucking impossible, and I spent too long building the skeleton farm to just not use it. So, I kid you not when I say that took an entire, in real life day to do. Now, I like Deep Slate and everything, but I gotta be honest, the Caves and Cliffs update was probably my least favorite update. Before 1.17, I used to be able to make farms like this, and it was really easy to light up the entire area around. But ever since they expanded the caves, it's become infinitely fucking harder, and I hate it. But you know, it's fine. We've got the farm working now, so I'm just gonna sit here for a few hours and kill some skeletons until we have enough materials to build the thing that you saw in the thumbnail.
6 hours later.
So I left my game on overnight, and I was wondering why skeletons stopped dropping down. Well, this would be why. If I pop into free cam, you can tell they're spawning with leather armor and not going through the powder snow. That's got to be like 20 skeletons right there. And there's even more with leather armor over there. You know what? I'm not too worried about this because eventually the local difficulty is going to rise high enough that they're going to start spawning in iron armor. It'll be fine. Either way, stray mode isn't going to get used very much anyway. It's mostly going to be just regular skeleton mode, so I don't really have to worry about this. Bone blocks aren't the only thing I need for this build though, so let's hit a little resource gathering spree. The first couple things on my list was a bunch of sand and some stuff from the lush caves. A wandering trader spawned, and I still don't have any emeralds, so I can't get anything, but pale moss? What the fuck? That's a thing that exists? What the fuck is pale moss? Anyway, back to the gathering spree. Yeah, I had grossly underestimated how much glass I was gonna need. You can't tell from the time-lapse alone, but I had enough time to enchant boots, a helmet, and a shovel. But that's not even all. I still had to smelt the stuff. And that took even longer. I shit you not when I say this replay file crashed multiple times while rendering. Alright, my materials are finally gathered. In these two double chests right here, we've got everything we're gonna need to make the build. This is just a shit ton of white stained glass. You don't want to know how long that took to get. Actually, I'll show you. As you can see, we are currently on day 115. For context, when this episode started, we were on like day 35. So I've been doing a whole lot of fucking nothing. Yeah, the majority of the time it took me to make this episode was just AFK. But enough wasting time, let's get this build started. You know, doing these videos gives me a lot of time to listen to music, and I listen to a lot of music when I record. So I'm thinking about adding a segment during one of the longer time lapses to tell you guys about what I'm listening to behind the camera while I'm building. During this time lapse, I was listening to The Black Parade by My Chemical Romance. Let's be honest, if you're one of my subscribers, you've probably already heard this album before, but if you haven't, check it out. It's honestly one of my favorites. Have you heard this album before? If this video made you go listen to it, what did you think? What other albums should I listen to when I'm recording? Let me know in the comments and I'll keep adding this segment in future videos. But I guess now I gotta talk about the actual build. Obviously, I'm building a skull because it's a skeleton farm and that just makes sense. But since last episode established that I'm kind of going in an Aztec direction with the builds in this series, I went with a sugar skull design. And let me just say, I fucking hate building with glazed terracotta. It just never faces the direction that you want it to face. That's not an issue in creative mode because you have like the debug stick and shit, but I'm playing hardcore. I don't have that. You place a block in survival and it's facing the wrong direction. Tough titties, buddy. Break it and try again. Do you want to have an iron trap door laid out vertically? Fuck you. Can you imagine how awesome it would be if we had just a crumb of debug stick functionality in survival? Oh, right. I'm supposed to be talking about the actual build instead of ranting about bullshit no one cares about. Yeah, it's cool, I guess. No, but for real, the day episode 1 came out, I started planning this build because I knew I wanted to do it. I've never built a skull in Minecraft before, so I spent a week in creative bashing mine against a wall trying to figure out how to make it not look like shit. And what you're looking at right now is the design I came up with that looked the least like shit. I think it's pretty neat. Oh my god, it's finally done and it looks so good. Wait, let me get a higher vantage point real quick. Oh no, those trees up there cover it. Oh, that's not an issue. I can get rid of them, but oh, it looks so good. Oh my god, it looks so cool. God, it's so pretty. I am so proud of this build. Obviously, it still needs some interior work and a significant amount of terraforming back here, but this already took me like 5 hours to build. Honestly, this little like smoky glass effect took just as long as the actual skull itself did. That's ridiculous. Never let me do something like this again, because let me show you. I made way too much glass. Now I just have like 9.5 stacks of white stained glass that I have nothing to do with right now. But what I think I'm gonna do in terms of interior is I'm gonna take this little hill and bring it back and curl it underneath the skull so that it looks like the skull is built into the side of the hill. It will come all the way down to this part of the jaw, but this part I'll probably just leave open and it'll look really cool. I think that'll work. So with one final time lapse, let's get this fully completed. Honestly, one of my goals with this series is to get a lot better at terraforming, and that's one of the reasons why I chose to do a jungle island in particular. And the one I got happens to need a lot of terraforming before the series is done. But if you guys keep watching the videos and keep leaving comments, I'll keep making them. Honestly, I have ideas for a lot of hardcore videos after this. Hardcore Minecraft is how my channel started, and it looks like that's the trajectory of how we're gonna go in the future. But that all really depends on if that's the content you guys want from me. In other words, subscribe. I sound like an asshole. And with that, our skeleton farm is finally complete. God, this was a long time coming, but it's so beautiful. Inside, outside, and even looking down at where the farm is. This little glass fog effect really sells just how far down this farm is. Look at this shit. It's so far down. It literally makes it look like the skeleton farm is just fucking in the void. And I think that's really cool. If you liked this video, maybe subscribe to the channel so you don't miss the next episode of the hardcore series. And if you liked this video, you'll probably like this other video that YouTube thinks you'll like, and YouTube's algorithm is never wrong. So, you know, just between you and me, you should probably click it. I heard good things happen to you if you click it. I don't know, guess you'll have to click it to find out.